Greetings, heathens and heretics, once again, and welcome to In the Abyss and another. So this is a new feature. So you might have already watched one of these, possibly, but if you haven't, the drummist here will explain.
I'll do my very best. We're going
Mm.
to do another episode of Legacy Aloud, which is saying coming.
That
Rewind.
as well.
Feet
Yeah.
back in. Yeah, it's none of that, and it's all of this. It's an idea we came up with. We talked a lot, like in episodes gone by, about unsung bangers and just generally albums that we wanted to shine a spotlight on. So we thought we'd make it a regular feature and have a bit of fun with it as well. We've nicked a few ideas from some other podcasts we've been watching. Shout out to You'll Hear It podcast, especially because we've kind of lifted a lot of what we're doing wholesale from them. But Joey T, who is the accused on this episode?
So you fucking helmet. It is 1992, absolute fucking classic. I mean, most people watch this are going to know what it is. So Helmet's Meantime. It's something that it's one of those albums that we've been kind of talking about like this for a while, isn't it? We need to talk
Yeah,
about Meantime. We need to talk about Meantime. So this is the
yeah,
opportunity to do exactly that.
yeah, yeah. Um, so one of the ways we hit it is just to talk about like any kind of like stories and lore and legend
Mm.
around the release. But I can't think of anything. I don't know if you've got anything off the top of
Yeah,
your
I
head.
mean, a little bit. I think it's worth noting that when you look back through the history, that when it first released, even I wasn't a Helmet fan in 1992. I was fucking 11 years old. Cool, but not that cool. But looking back at the sort of history of it, when it dropped commercially, it kind of flopped. Like
Right.
it sort of landed nowhere. And obviously, this is their second album, but a lot of people would probably consider it the debut because it was like the big kind of release
Yeah,
on a
that's a
major
fair point.
label, all that kind of thing. But it did sort of chip away, and it ended up shifting 2 million copies.
Right.
So for something that flopped like that at first, it had quite an amazing journey. And when you think about the level of influence that Helmet and this album have had on bands that have come after, your Deftones,
Yeah.
bands like Far, and then going into new metal and post-hardcore
Yeah.
comes
Tons in it.
from bands like Helmet and albums like this. So I think that's the thing that's worth really shouting out.
Yeah, no, I think you make a really good point there, and I wonder if a little known thing called MTV might have had something to do with the. I mean, there was one kind of major breakout single from this album, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah.
Um, but no, you're absolutely right. You talk about a lot of people thinking this was their debut, and I was absolutely in that camp. I didn't find out that Strap It On existed till like kind of way after
Yeah.
I into them. So.
Which was 89, I think, wasn't it? So that just makes you realize, yeah, how long Helmet have been around. It's incredible. They're a proper legacy band.
Yeah. So when was the big bang for you? When did you first come across them?
So for me, there's another episode that we've got out there, is probably out there by now, is where we counted down our top 10 punk and hardcore, and that's one to stick with. It's a couple of hours long, but it's worth it. I talked in that about a mixtape I was given. I think it was 1995, and it had a
Right.
load of sort of 90s alternative stuff on there. And it was Bad Religion was one of the ones I talked about on the other episode, and Smashing Pumpkins and Dub War and Helmet was on there as well. And it was In the Meantime was the song, and because I'd never heard anything like all this stuff before, it was kind of like blowing me away a little bit. It was what is all this? I'd grown up on Maiden and Metallica and AC/DC and
Right.
all that. That's
Yeah.
kind of where I was at that time. So 14, 15 years old. So that's where it hit for me. I don't think I really kind of, did I really get into Helmet off the back of that initially? Probably not. Probably sort of it came something I came back to in later years, but that's where it kicked off. For you, it was probably
Yeah.
in about 1974, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was before that. No, but it was at the disco. I can say that much. Um, yeah, we so shout so the heavy metal scene of my youth centered around Croydon, and there were a few little bars and clubs that were putting on nights there. A lot more than there are now. I'll say that much.
Mm,
But central to all of those was a guy called DJ Linton. So shout out to DJ Linton. I think he's still around, and I think he's still DJing. Every
fair
like
play.
on the few occasions I go to Croydon, I often see posters up, usually kind of like drum and bass or like some crazy dance night or something like that. But DJ Linton's name is on there. But we used to go to there was a place called the Stairway, which was a club above a restaurant, kind of in South Croydon area, and close by there was another tiny little cellar bar called Alley Cats, and they used to do a night on there. And I first heard so many bands off the back of
Mm.
DJ Linton. Like, I can Rage Against the Machine, Slayer, Primus, kind of that really vibrant early 90s scene where
Yeah.
there's just kind of all kinds of sort of crazy stuff going on, you know, and he'd been pulling in classics as well. And Helmet was one of the bands that he would play regularly. You know, he had songs that he would always drop in, and tracks off of Meantime would always make it. So there's me. I was probably about 15. Um, we used to kind of like put on chesty stances and deepen our voices to get into these clubs, and we'd be
Point a
sat
lager, please.
basically. Well, it was Newcastle Brown Ale then, so a huge
Oh, classy.
Newcastle Brown Ale. Just sort of trembling at the sight and sound of this. After hours club, but good fun. But that was it. So, and I think around that time, the next album, Betty, was floating about. So I was kind of exploring it all from there. Um, and there was actually, funny enough, staying on the subject of kind of that time in my life, there was another guy that used to hang out with us, and he had the coolest record collection you've ever seen in an era when no one was buying records. We were all buying tapes, and
Yeah.
and CD was just kind of coming in. And this kid, Richard Hampton, his name was, he just had this huge selection of records. I mean, I hope he's still got them. If he ever got rid of them, I mean, it would have just broken my heart to see all this stuff dispersed out into the world. But every release that came out around that time, if there was a vinyl version of it, he seemed to have it. And Meantime was one of those. So I remember kind of seeing that in his collection as well, and it'd be like, oh man, come on, this is that song that Linton's always putting on. Play it, play it, play it, play it, play it, and it hit me just as hard every single time.
Man, I owe to be that age again in it and discovering all that new exciting stuff. It's just fucking you can't beat that.
Yeah,
There's no better
and
feeling.
actually rewinding slightly to the whole kind of legend and lore side of it, and yeah, and like Paige Hamilton, is the central figure, I guess, in the
Mm.
band. Um, was a massive jazz fan and a jazz musician, and so there
Yeah.
was all this kind of like, what the hell was all this about? Like, who's this jazz guy coming in playing this heavy music? And we sort of learned he'd been done stuff like Band of Susans back in the day, and he'd been involved in all these jazz projects, and
Nice.
so that kind of piqued our interest. And then, of course, there was the whole like when you're a certain age or metal of a certain era, and you talked about this, this kind of new sound and something new. The short hair, man, that was
Mm.
not a thing back then. Like if you were into metal and if a band played riffs, then they had long hair. They might have worn makeup, but they had long hair, and just like the idea of cutting your hair short. The first thing I wanted to do when I got into heavy music was like grow my hair.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, look at the grief Metallica got for load. I mean, fucking
right.
hell.
Exactly. So then this band comes along who is heavy as fuck, absolutely slam it, and it's like
Yeah.
nice, nice haircuts, And there's us thinking you had to be like Samson, not the band,
Yeah, definitely
the uh,
not a band.
the
Well,
Greek
look,
legend.
to quote Padre from many, many years ago, metal is not a haircut, it's a state of mind. So there you go.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I do believe drink had been taken at that point. So
Well,
yeah. I'll throw one at you then. So the long distance runner.
the long distance runner, yeah. So we threw this in thinking, okay, so a lot of the time we're going to talk about albums that made a big impact on us when we were younger. So the long distance runner is like, do they go the distance? And I can wholeheartedly say yes. I mean, Helmet is
Yeah.
still a band I listen to. It's still a band I pay for a ticket and go and see them live. I saw them, was it last year, the year before? I think whenever they were in the
I
ballroom.
did Betty
Uh,
in full, didn't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, on that point, they were the first band I ever went to see live on my own. First gig I ever went to alone. And I remember feeling so, so self-conscious. I would go to the bar and I'd buy two beers at a time just because I didn't want to.
Yeah,
To
that's
me,
why you bought two beers, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
man, I'm telling you seriously, I was so self-conscious about being there on my own. I just in my sort of I don't know how old I was. I must in late teens, maybe my early 20s. I don't know. But the idea of going anywhere like that without a mate, I just thought, oh, they're going to think I'm a real sad bastard.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Whereas now you don't think any different, do you?
I think most of the gigs I go to on my own
Well, some of the
now.
mad shit you listen to, I'm not surprised.
Oh, fair enough. Fair
Um,
enough.
but yeah, yeah, same. I mean, it's of those formative years, isn't it? The '90s for us are obviously massive, and any sort of impactful album from that period, it does. There's quite a lot from the '90s that have stuck with me ever since, and
Yeah.
I'll carry them out. And yeah, Meantime's one of them. It's a bona fide classic. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
like there's still a band that um, I'll still buy their stuff now. I still
Mm.
get listen to the albums. I've got some thoughts. I do think this particular era of the band represents like a classic lineup. I think
Yeah,
this is when they were at their peak. I don't think they're a bad band now at all, but there's something about the chemistry of this particular lineup. I want to give a shout out to John Stanier on drums because I think so much of the album's snap and energy just comes from the way he plays drums.
well,
Um,
yeah. I mean, it's evident on this album, is it? The drums hit hard.
oh man, you
You
got
know?
a track like You Borrowed, which has just got that kind of, it's not, I mean, it's not quite funky, but there's funk in there. Ironhead, just the staccato. I mean, there's hardcore punk in there, but there's also so much space in the
Yeah,
music that it just I mean, yeah,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
too many moments on this, but it all absolutely slams. And of course, going back to Page being having a bit of a different influence on the guitar, the riffs are different.
yeah, yeah.
They're um just kind of just a few like I don't know, a track like Give It has got this kind of like almost joyous feel to it. Yeah, it's not your bog standard riffing, but
Well, in 1992, which is probably why it commercially flopped because it's something different, isn't it? There wasn't really anything live. It's certainly not on a major label or anything like that at that point. So it does kind of stand the
yeah,
test of time now as why it flopped, and then it kind of grew as people started to realize what they were all about. So,
yeah.
yeah.
What's your
Um,
what's your desert island track?
Desert Island track. So I think, to be honest with you, it's In the Meantime because
Right.
that was the song that was on that mixtape that I first heard. Um, it's just a great fucking song, and it opens the album, doesn't it? And it just kicks you hard in the ass, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I once,
definitely.
last time, well, no, it wouldn't have been, last time I heard it played live, would have been Helmet, but I was at a friend of mine, shout out to Mark Berriton, his 40th birthday party, and his mates had arranged for him to have like a 90s covers band play, and it was a mixed event, it wasn't like metal fans or anything, it was family and friends and people from kind of all corners of his life. But the band just kicked into Meantime, and I remember that ding, that kind of drum fill as the intro
That's fucking cool.
approaches. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I was standing there next to another friend, James Barry. Shout out to James Barry, who was just kind of like, hold my pint, and he was into the pit, at this fairly, fairly well behaved 40th birthday party. But that's the power of Meantime.
Yeah, in it. What's your
Yeah.
Desert Island track? Are you going with the same one, or is there?
No, I'm going to go route one here. There's this album for me could be one track long, and I'd love it as much. And that track would be Unsung,
Unsung. Yeah, yeah,
which I just think is as close as damn it to the perfect song.
yeah,
It's I, when that riff kicks in, it's goosebumps for me every single time.
yeah,
And it's a combination of the riff and the snap of the snare
yeah.
drum. It's perfection. And I mentioned earlier that a kind of breakout hit. So I think Unsung was pretty much it. Unless I'm madly mistaken, I'm sure that was
Yeah, I think it
released.
was. Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah,
Yeah, because I have memories of all night kind of MTV parties over at a mate's house, just kind of watching. It was the only place I could see metal videos.
fucking yeah,
I just
yeah. Kids today don't know fucking how easy they
I
got,
know
do
you
they?
don't know you're
You
born.
don't know you're born. All this wouldn't out but
Yeah.
feels.
So,
What's getting left on the cutting room floor though?
oh man, you break my heart. You
Mm,
break my heart. I'm gonna go with a tried and tested strategy here, and I'm just gonna lock the last song off, Role Model. Um,
Cop out.
because I Hmm?
Cop out.
Oh, well, I just think up to this point, all the songs for me have a really unique flavor, and I think Role Model less so. I still think it's a great track. And I've got a feeling we're going to be doing this every time we get to this kind of which track would you lose?
Well,
Um,
no.
ah,
Um,
thinking ahead, aren't you?
well, ironically, Ironhead would be the track that I'd cut.
Uh,
I think it's such a strong opener in the meantime, and I love Give It as well. And then Unsung comes after that. Ironhead for me just drops off that little bit in levels, and is it a bad song? Fuck no, it ain't. But
well, that's the
that's the only reason, because I think meantime into Give It into Unsung, it's worldy territory. But other than that, I can't really pick.
right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a bit kinky.
Well, why not? There's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with a bit of spice. Nothing wrong with a
exactly,
bit of spice.
exactly.
And speaking of spice, if you had to pick one moment, one your apex moment, the kind of the goosebump moment for you?
Well, again, it's in the meantime, and like you said, like the covers band, it's that chaotic drum intro,
Yeah,
like that, like sort of kind of blows you away, and then it just goes boom, doo, doo,
and
doo,
it's
and
that
it's just
that one chord as well, that
yeah,
ding, just
it's
before it.
just fuck, it's so perfectly done, and as an album opener, it sets the tone straight away, and I just fucking love it. Every time I hear it, it still makes
Right.
the hairs on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, what about you?
Well, you're going to accuse me of having a lack of imagination. I'm sure people will be, but I'm going to go Unsung again. Like it's such a great song. I cannot emphasize how much I love that song. But similarly, it's just that moment when the riff kicks in.
Yeah,
There's so much air and space in these riffs that you really feel them drop.
yeah.
They just sit in this special place. And yeah,
Mhm.
for me, I've never tired of it just hearing that riff kick in. World class.
Okay, so the grandma gatekeeper question then.
Right.
Do you want to
Okay.
explain this one again?
Yeah, I'll explain the Grandma Gatekeeper. So, again, shout out to You'll Hear It podcast because we kind of nicked this off of them, but we think it's so much fun. So we're going to give it a score out of 10, but we're going to do it in two halves. Okay. So we're going to give it 0 to 5. Like, would the Metal Gatekeeper like this album? What would the Metal Gatekeeper think of this? Would they dig it? Does it pass the Edgelord test? And equally, 5 out of 5, would your nan like it? Never listened to metal before, but if you put it on, would she be, oh, this is nice, dear, and be into it? So, what are your thoughts?
So
Let's go with
what should we go? I'll tell you what, I'll go with the grandma scale first. So
yeah,
I think there's a couple to be had in here because, like you said earlier on, Page Hamilton and his jazz background. Oh, it's jazz, is it? Oh, I don't mind a bit of jazz. Used to
yeah,
listen to jazz back in the 50s. So yeah, I think that you've got a little bit of that. They were good, clean looking boys, short hair
that's
and sort of
yeah.
plain dress, so they get another mark for that. So for me, I think it's a 2 out of 5 on the grandma scale.
So okay, I'm going to give it 3 because I reckon
Ooh.
there's a few toe tappers on there as well. I reckon if you had it on right at the family barbecue and Nan's over there with her feet in the paddling pool, I don't think she's necessarily. I mean, she might wince a couple of times, but I think she'd allow it. I think she'd allow it.
That's an open-minded grandma.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
they're out
so on the
there.
gatekeeper scale, and this is an interesting one because, like we've just talked about, the
Yeah.
haircuts and it's 90s coming out of glam rock and grunge has
Well,
hit and all that. So where would this sit in that?
I don't think it's gonna get past the gatekeeper, to be honest, because I think, yeah, you've got the short hair. I don't think they trust a riff master without a leather jacket. That might cause a few problems. I mean, the riffs are undeniable, but it sits in that it sits in the upstart category. Who are these
The
upstarts?
slacker.
Yeah, coming in here with your heavy riffs. Sorry, mate. If you haven't put in the hours to grow your hair long, I don't
But
know.
you've got to give it a score
Um,
out of five.
yeah, so I'm going to go three. I'm going to go three because I think there are moments on here that slam. I think, you got He Feels Bad. It's like almost heavy doom the way that comes in. Um, I think that's gonna crack a few. I think it's gonna crack a few. We take down a few pins, I think, with that. Um, so I'm gonna give it three. I'm gonna give it three for Grandma, and I'm gonna give it three. So I think this is one they can probably quite agree on.
So it's a 6 out of 10 for you. I've gone with two for Grandma, and I think I'll agree with you on a three. I think there's enough metalness in it to make a
Mm.
gatekeeper go, "Oh, yeah," and then probably go, oh no, don't like that bit.
Yeah, they probably
So
pretend not to like it, but
yeah,
they'd
it's,
be
it's
again,
yeah,
they'd be tapping their feet, man. It's got something.
it would get a gatekeeper on the fence, but not quite all the way over. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. I think a three is good.
So
And then we just got one final kind of measure really for us, which is is it as good as Ride the Lightning?
am I allowed to protest this question? Because it's just fucking like,
You're not allowed to overthink it. That's the point. It's just for fun.
no, it's not.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. I
Um,
think it is. I think this one for me is one I would put up there. It's got such a special place, I think, in my heart.
you're talking about your
Uh,
special place again.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to say it is.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, it's an all timer. We know that, but comparing it to Ride the Lightning, I mean, what the only mad thing is they're 9 years apart. No,
Yeah.
8 years apart.
The thing is, I should add, it is strictly for fun. We're not actually making a direct comparison. It's like we recognize the albums sound completely different, but we were trying to think of an album like what is the pinnacle? What's the most like A grade metal album you could think of? Ride the Lightning would be one, maybe Rain in Blood would be another. But the point being is does it get the heckles on your neck standing up
Well, we'll
with
we'll
the
do we'll do Rain in Blood one day, and then you can compare it to Ride the Lightning, can't you?
we could do Ride the Lightning if you like.
Oh, no, no. Then the world implodes. Then we've got a whole different problem. You can't do that. You can't
Yeah,
do that. Yeah, but there you go.
yeah.
That's it. That's it. Anybody watching this is probably going to know exactly what we just talked about. They're going to be more than familiar with the album. But if you're not, go and check it out because it is an all-time classic. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're on audio, if you are watching this, again, lovely new lovely new t-shirt. Fuck you, Live Nation. If you like this, it's on our merch store, not stall. It's not some stall around the back of my bedroom.
Roll up,
Um,
roll up.
yeah, there's links on our socials bio and everything like that. It's a bit more expensive than our usual t-shirts, but there's a reason for that. Any profits from it will go back into grassroots music, however we possibly can. So yeah, if you want to support and wear it with pride, there's this one and there's a fuck PRS as well. So get involved. And if you like what we do, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and drop some comments below and let us know what you think about Meantime as well, because it should be talked about more than it probably is.
Absolutely.
In it, in it. So bye bye. Stay metal. Cheers.